Hey Vikings Nation, what's going on? If you're a true fan of the Minnesota Vikings, you know this time of year is absolute chaos in the NFL. Teams are making big decisions, contracts are getting reshaped, players are getting released, and the entire league is preparing for one of the most intense moments of the offseason: free agency. But today, Vikings fans, we've got a headline that's making people talk all across the league. Because the Minnesota Vikings just made a surprising move involving one of their biggest offensive weapons. Before we dive into the details, let me ask you something, Vikings fans. When you hear that the team has adjusted the contract of a star player like Hockenson, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Is this about saving cap space? Preparing for a massive signing? Or is there an even bigger strategy behind the scenes in Minnesota? Because here's the thing. With the NFL free agency period just around the corner, every single move matters. And what the Minnesota Vikings just did with Hockenson's contract could be a clear signal that the front office is preparing something big. So stay with me until the end of this video because we're going to break down exactly what happened, why the Vikings did it, and what it could mean for the future of this team. Right now across the NFL, the league is buzzing with activity. Even though the official legal tampering period hasn't started yet, teams are already moving pieces behind the scenes. Front offices are restructuring deals, releasing veterans, and working the salary cap like a chessboard. Every dollar counts when free agency is approaching. For the Minnesota Vikings, this offseason is especially important. The team has several key decisions to make, and managing the salary cap is a huge part of the strategy. In today's NFL, you don't just build a roster with talent, you build it with smart financial decisions. And that's exactly where this latest Vikings news comes in. Reports indicate that Minnesota has made a contract adjustment involving tight end Hockenson. Now, before anyone panics, this does not mean the Vikings are moving on from him. Instead, it looks like a strategic move designed to create more flexibility for the team heading into free agency. For those who may not remember, Hockenson became a massive part of the Minnesota Vikings offense after being acquired in a trade from the Detroit Lions back in 2022. Almost immediately, he turned into one of the most reliable weapons in the passing game. Hockenson's combination of size, route running, and dependable hands made him a nightmare matchup for opposing defenses. In multiple games, he was one of the most targeted players on the field, acting almost like a wide receiver in the middle of the field. That's why any news involving his contract immediately grabs the attention of Vikings fans. When a key offensive piece like this is mentioned in offseason financial moves, people start wondering what the bigger plan might be. According to reports circulating around the NFL news cycle, the Minnesota Vikings adjusted 1 year of Hockenson's contract structure. Moves like this are extremely common this time of year, especially for teams trying to open up salary cap space before the start of the new league year. In many cases, teams convert portions of a player's salary into bonuses or restructure the payment schedule. This allows the team to reduce the immediate cap hit for the upcoming season while still keeping the player under contract. So if you're a Vikings fan worried that this means Hockenson is leaving Minnesota, take a breath. This type of move usually signals the exact opposite. It shows that the team still values the player and wants to keep him as part of the long-term plan. And let's be honest here, Vikings Nation. The Minnesota Vikings offense simply looks different when Hockenson is on the field. His ability to stretch the middle of the field opens up opportunities for the entire passing attack. Defenses have to account for him on almost every snap, which creates more room for wide receivers to work on the outside and gives the quarterback a reliable safety valve in critical situations. That kind of versatility is extremely valuable in today's NFL. And it's one of the reasons the Vikings invested heavily in him after the trade. So restructuring a piece of his contract could simply be part of a bigger financial strategy. Now here's where things get really interesting. The Vikings aren't the only team making moves right now. Across the entire NFL, franchises are scrambling to create cap space before free agency officially begins. Some teams are releasing veteran players. Others are renegotiating contracts. And a few organizations are already making quiet trades behind the scenes to reshape their rosters. For the Minnesota Vikings, every dollar freed up could potentially be used to strengthen another position on the roster. Whether that means adding defensive help, improving the offensive line, or bringing in depth pieces, cap flexibility gives the front office options. And Vikings fans know that the front office has been aggressive in the past when the right opportunity appears. When Minnesota sees a chance to improve the roster, they usually don't sit back and watch. That's why many analysts believe these contract adjustments are just the beginning of what could be a very active offseason for the Minnesota Vikings. With free agency right around the corner, the Vikings could be positioning themselves to make a move that strengthens the team for the upcoming season. And if that's the case, Vikings fans should definitely keep a close eye on the news over the next few days. Because once the legal tampering period begins, the NFL rumor mill explodes. Players start agreeing to deals. Insiders begin leaking information, and suddenly the entire landscape of the league can change in a matter of hours. And let me ask you something, Vikings Nation. If the Minnesota Vikings just created extra cap space with this move, what position do you think the team should target first in free agency? Should the Vikings focus on rebuilding the defense? Should they invest more in protecting the quarterback with offensive line help? Or do you think Minnesota should go after another explosive weapon on offense? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now because I want to hear what the Vikings community thinks about this latest Minnesota Vikings news. And if you love staying updated with the latest Vikings news, Minnesota Vikings rumors, and breaking NFL stories involving the Minnesota Vikings, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next update. Share this video with other Vikings fans, keep the conversation going in the comments, and stay tuned. Because with free agency about to begin, the Minnesota Vikings story is just getting started. Skol Vikings, Purple Circle Fire.